I'm ready to.
We are live. So, welcome to From the Heart. This is doing my last segment as part of my American Heart Association Women of Impact program. And I saved the best for the last, something that means a lot to me because I'm a fit freak. And it's important for heart health. And just to give you a little bit of background, when I was initially thinking about doing something on fitness, I went to the more shallow layer of just, hey, working out. Let's do a segment on working out. And then I started visiting with Denise and realized we can really take this down a few layers and back it up, because it's not necessarily always, are you bike riding, walking, running, jogging, kickboxing, doing Pilates, yoga, meditation. There's so many different things out there that we enjoy. But let's take it back a little bit to the origination of some of the reasons, in addition to the heart health, why we need to be focusing on the fitness. So what we're going to talk about today, and we'll give you a little more information on the background as we're having our conversation. But today, my guest is Denise Gaffney, and she lives here in New Jersey. She's a certified Romanos Pilates teacher and the founder of My Bod Wellness, which is a hybrid on-site and online Pilates company that she established in 2012. And she's been teaching for 18 years and developed a core philosophy, which I'm sure has something to do with our core, and it expands beyond the physical. And when she applies it, she's able to help clients find balance, which for us women 50 and over, and maybe even a little earlier, balance is also really important for our fitness goals and just for everyday living. So wellness and peace, and she helps women in all aspects of her life. So just thank you so much for being here today. And you look really pretty.
Thank you. You do too. Thank you so much for having me here today, Patty. This is a delight.
Yeah. So we've got to unpack in 30 minutes. So I just want to dig in with the questions. So when you and I were visiting, you made a profound comment that really stayed with me. And when we were talking about working out and fitness, and you said, is your body performing for you? And I found that to be compelling, because often with all the different that we're doing, we're not really in touch with how our bodies are performing. We're just not mindful of that. Do you think that women understand what it even means for your body to perform for you?
I think there is a disconnect that we as women have with our bodies. There's often an antagonistic relationship that we have with our bodies. We have issues with our bodies. Our bodies don't look the way they're supposed to look. They don't look like that woman or that woman. And so we start to try to control our bodies, and we have a very sort of disassociated relationship with our bodies. So our bodies, we don't value how our bodies perform for us on a basic level. Like, this conversation is about heart health. We rarely think about the fact that our hearts are working daily just to get blood to our limbs so we can move, we can talk, we can function. We rarely have an acknowledgement of that, an awareness of that, and an appreciation of that. Instead, we are generally in a place of, I'm not this enough, my body's this, my body's that, I have to try on these clothes, right? So one of the things that I would love, and one of the things I teach my students, is to understand that there's a partnership, right? And actually it's not even a partnership, it is, you are your body, period. But that we work with our bodies, we're in partnership with our bodies, and we acknowledge the way that our bodies perform for us. And we, yes, 100%, I don't think that women understand, or they think about the way our bodies are performing for us. And then what we need to do is give our bodies what we need, or what they need, we need to fully perform for us, right? To be able to show up for us. So out of this antagonism that we have with our bodies, we tend to do things that aren't healthy. We tend to, think negatively, which causes stress. We tend to go on juice cleanse. I'm not saying a juice cleanse is a bad thing, period, but we tend to go to extremes to try to change our body and make it different. And we're mean to our bodies. And so then our bodies become depleted, they become burnt out, or we overwork out, or we underwork out, right? So it is this relationship, and it's like avoidance is one of the place we live in. We're up here, and then we're sort of like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. Right. And then there's that avoidance. So then 100%, your body isn't able to perform for you because you're not giving it what it needs.
Yeah. Your body also will talk, I believe.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going through that right now. We'll talk about it a little while later. Okay, so I want to take this down a layer, because you said the word stress. And I told you about a very close friend of mine who has just gone through, finished up her radiation treatments from breast cancer. They got everything. But she's had a lot of anxiety. And the oncologist had made a suggestion that she do meditation. And when she told me about it, we both started laughing, because she and I are both bikers, walkers, swimmers, and meditation and yoga, it's just not our thing. but when I shared that with you, that's when we kind of started going down the path about that the oncologist identified that Karen was experiencing anxiety and stress over having gone through this traumatic experience in her life and then going on to the next step. And we wanted to kind of peel back layer and talk about stress and anxiety, and about when, I think the word used was in learning to incorporate a stillness into their life and their fitness. So will you talk about that, stillness and mindfulness, a little bit?
Yes, I love this topic. So going back to, you mentioned that I teach women or people how to find balance, and you were talking about it in a physical way, which is awesome. Yes, 100% for women who are over the age of whatever. Balance physically is good, but I see it more as that balance in the general sense, right? So that we're not going and hitting it hard, getting on our spin bikes, doing our Pelotons, and then trying to run a marathon, and then running around with our crazy lives. And that's our stress relief, is just, again, back to the avoidance thing, right? But that we have to balance. We have to balance how we do our workouts. The body needs rest. The brain needs rest. We need stillness. And in the culture that we live in, stillness is not really valued, right? And so it's something that's very hard for us as type A capitalist Americans who have to go, 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 and produce. And that becomes detrimental to our health, right? We see it, we know it. We know about the person who works themselves into the ground and has a breakdown, or a nervous breakdown, or a physical ailment that comes up. They haven't been paying attention.
Like a heart attack or a stroke.
Like a heart attack, exactly, right?
Or a stroke. And the thing is, the heart attacks and strokes are happening to women younger and younger. And I interviewed a woman in a stroke in her late 30s, and she was a broker on Wall Street and really successful, and it affected her. So we're coming out of a pandemic. People have been from home for the past year, and I'm hoping that people are coming out of it with, hopefully learning a little bit of stillness and balance, and working out and being healthier with a different mindset. and that we don't go back to our go.
I know. Yeah.
Mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're a former dancer, and
Mhm.
you respect the power of small moves. And you told me when we spoke that this is what led you to master the art of Pilates.
Hmm.
And I've never done Pilates myself, or I'm intrigued, interested, and I told Karen about it. But I'm interested about the small moves, because it's such a fit into the stillness, mindfulness, because you really have to focus your body
Yeah.
on these small moves that help your body perform for you, not just
Yes.
perform, but perform in your favor.
Yes.
And really, I think you work with clients to identify, if they're feeling stress, if they're feeling anxiety, and then figure out how to focus on the different muscles and move them and hold them for strength and the control. So, and you told me that a lot of athletes do Pilates. So I want to talk about that a little more.
Yeah, so you talk about peeling back the layers, and I see Pilates as a technique or a form that absolutely does that. What we do in Pilates, and there's, by the way, not all Pilates is created equal. So when I'm using that term, I have no idea what you're going to get if you go to a gym Pilates class and you're doing the hundreds and doing all these exercises. For me, Pilates is not a what. So even if a Pilates exercise is technically a Pilates, part of the Pilates vocabulary, unless it's performed in this attentive way that you were just talking about, the awareness of smaller movements, of more direct and detailed movements. To me, it's not Pilates. So Pilates to me is like the plumbing. It's like addressing the plumbing and the electrical and all the stuff you don't really see, the deep inner workings of your home. And if the body is the home, that's what's function, again, this awareness, we're like not even aware of what's going on internally, right? And so we've got this deep inner strength that has to be consciously moved. So for example, there's this major muscle it's a deep abdominal muscle called the transversalis abdominis. And unless you consciously activate it, it doesn't activate. So you have to slow down. And you're not going to be able to just do like a HIIT workout or go running down the street and think and be able to use that. But this muscle is your back brace. It is the thing that aligns you so that you then have an aligned body that is performing for you as you articulated, which I love. So 100%. So one of the main challenges I have with people coming into the studio or working with me online for the first time, if they are from that background of hit it hard, again, that kind of control, I'm going to dominate my workout.
I think it was beast mode.
And beast mode.
Beast mode was the term that you and I used.
Oh yeah, we hear that. We hear, I'm going to kill it, all these things. If they're coming from that perspective, it's hard for them to slow down, appreciate how the body truly can perform for them better, take the time to figure it out, and become aware, and then move smaller and more connected. And then, so we start small and connected, but then it grows into, you basically become a dancer or a gymnast. Like I was 16 years old when I hurt my back. I couldn't move. I was like an old lady at 16. Okay. And then when I was 22 and found Pilates, I was doing back walkovers into the splits. I mean, I couldn't even move at 16, so it's like, you're able to do all of these amazing things when you work from the inside out, when you work on the smaller things, when you work on the details, but you have to take the time to do it. So it is that slowing down, stillness, understanding consciousness, mindful way of moving.
Yeah. So someone like a football player.
Yes.
Who does Pilates. What's the benefit for, some big, strong football player guy focusing on those small muscles? Then how does that turn around?
Right. So, the thought that comes to me when you talk about that is like, there's a certain amount of motor control. And you think about little kids, they have like gross motor control, right? So they're like, they grab the apple, but they can't take the pen and draw, right? Like a picture. So the football player obviously has a very high level of mobility and consciousness of their movements. However, getting that detailed, inner deep working, addressing muscles that aren't going to be addressed in their normal training is why Pilates tends to benefit athletes. So athletes, when they're doing their work, they've got their training. They also have like patterns that are sort of overused, right? As a football player, you're running forward, you're tackling, you've got to use your weight through space, but you might not be addressing the opposite, the opening in your back. So then you're going to have problems because of that repetitive movement. So I think,
okay.
Yeah. So I think like Pilates I also call it kind of like your insurance policy. Like it keeps you again, aligned, and connected, and in a way that if you do your big movements and you do them over and over again, I play tennis right now, I'm feeling it. It's like that you could really develop problems, but it keeps you balanced so that you don't get injured. Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to talk about 4 months ago, I started experiencing tremendous pain in the side of my left knee, and it was so extreme that I put on a knee brace, and I was still trying to plug along and do my workout, even though I wasn't. It was very obvious to me I wasn't walking straight. I was putting more weight on one side of my body than the other, and I got concerned. Wrong? Am I going to get my body? But I wasn't willing to give up because I'm a warrior, and so I want to get some thoughts from you to share with people about women exercising with pain and the effect that can have as we age, because we can't stop moving. And let's just talk about that for a little bit.
So I love this topic. It is it is like what's the word I'm looking for? Dovetails totally perfectly with Pilates. Actually, Pilates developed his technique because of people in pain. Okay, so he worked with, he was a nurse on the Isle of Man during World War I, and all of his soldiers that he was taking care of were in bed. And he said, no, you are injured, you're in bed, but you're going to keep moving because that's going to keep you healthy. And so he moved them in ways that they could move without pain. So going back to your example, in Pilates and in my philosophy, I came to Pilates from pain. Again, going back to being injured at 16 and having chronic pain until I came upon very good Pilates. My aunt trained me, and then pain was not a thing anymore. And what I learned was that you continue to move, but you move without bad pain, So in your case, Patty, with the knee, then you do non-weight. I mean, Pilates is actually a great thing to do when you have like a knee or foot injury because it's non-weight bearing. So you keep moving, you strengthen the other parts of your body, and then you're able to recover. And, Joseph Pilates, there's a story of my master teacher, Romana Krzyzanowska, who was his student. Okay. So I worked with his student, Romana. And when she was 15, she danced for George Balanchine, or she was at Mr. B's studio, and she had an ankle problem, and Joe sent her to, and so also just wrapping in, this is not even just age. I would say 90% of the people come to me have pain. If they're 20 or they're 60, doesn't matter. Okay. Wow. So women continue to move in pain, and they don't quite know how to do that and how to not do that. So Romana goes to see Joe Pilates. Her ankle is hurting, and he does nothing with her ankle. And she's looking at him like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not helping me. After 5 sessions, her ankle was healed because she left it alone. So she strengthened what needed to be strengthened, and she left it alone. It's very hard for us as women like us who want to go, we want to accomplish, we want to do, to back off and not feel the pain, but do other things, get creative about how you can move without feeling that pain. So that, I think, as we age, I mean, again, I it's funny to me because I always like women come to me. It's like, oh, I'm getting old. I have this pain. And my experience is that I had that pain when I was 16. I am so used to having pain and so used to recovering. And so to me, it's not about age. It's just about being physical or being a body in this, environment with gravity, so I don't like it when people, I try to give that to people, that it is not an age thing and that it doesn't have to be. It is a moment thing, and then we recover. And you can keep recovering if you do the right things.
Excellent. Yeah, and I did taper back my workouts. I did respect the pain.
Yes.
And I actually think that one of the things that attributed to me getting better, along with peanuts and respecting the pain, was collagen. And I don't want to get into a conversation about collagen, but I just noticed over a bit of time, it's gone. I'm better. 100%. I'm 100% better. So I want to go back and talk a little bit more about anxiety and stress. Because both of those are triggers for heart issues.
Yep.
And you told me that adrenaline puts us in a fight or flight stance, which actually is what creates the anxiety and the stress. You gave me an example that this is where the beast mode comes in.
Yes.
That when we work out, we might aggressively say to ourselves, that self-talk you mentioned earlier, I killed today. I'm in beast mode. And that our while our competitive spirit relishes feeling like we conquered something, it's not good for us. And it's not good for our hearts. So why is that?
So I guess I'd like to qualify that. I don't think it's not good for us, but going back to, again, balance, the word you used in the beginning of this conversation, which I'm so glad you sort of led with that, is it needs to be balanced, right? And we need to also value the other side of it. So by all means, get into beast mode, dominate, get that high. It's going to be amazing. But if you're constantly living in that state and you don't have the opposite, you are not also meditating, you are not also slowing down and watching how you straighten your leg. And are you doing it with the muscles that are going to support you? You're not slowing down and stretching out that which is, bound. It's going to take its toll. So cortisol levels, right? I had a test, worked with a holistic doctor who you do a spit test. I don't know if you've ever done it, but you do a spit test morning, mid-morning, afternoon, and night. And it came back that like in the afternoon, my cortisol levels were spiking up. And this doctor, she's like, you have to address this, because if you keep going that way, your adrenals, you will burn out. And so this is where we see hormonal imbalances. Your thyroid starts getting wonky because you've been pushing the adrenaline and cortisol for so long and your hormones are not balanced. So and then the heart, right? So it's all connected. And if we keep going down that path and we don't have the balancing, it is bad for our heart. It's bad for our systems. Our immune systems get burnt out, right? And then we're more susceptible to getting sick. So 100% that slowing down and valuing almost the opposite of that, right? I want to say that's good for a certain amount. It's stimulating and it's very inspiring for yourself to get into that mode, but we have to balance it out.
Okay. And that is a perfect way for us to segue into that when we finish whatever type of exercise that we do, that movement, whatever we do, should feel restorative. So I want to talk about that because it speaks directly to this whole, adrenaline and stress mentality versus I feel so great now that I completed what I set out to do with my workout. Those are two very different things that kind of gets back to what you were talking about at the beginning about our self-talk and we have these impressions in our mind about how we're supposed to look, what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to feel. And truthfully, if we just have a mantra of restorative, I feel restored, that there's a lot of power in that.
So I love that. And it makes me think of two main ways that women interact with or like dialogue with their bodies when they're working out. And one of them is in that state of fear. So I know it was very interesting. It just reminds me of a client I had who was a soul cycler. I do soul cycle as well. And she's like, every time I start, like I'm scared. And I used to feel like that when I'd go on a run. I'd get like a little sick to my stomach, like, oh, this is going to be so hard. But once it's over, I'm going to feel so great. Right. So there's that interaction with your workout. And then the other interaction with your workout is I have to go all out to the point where I'm depleted. I'm panting. I can't even make it through. And that's when I've done enough. Okay. So there is like, if you have those feelings with your workout where it doesn't feel like you've been supported, but the rest of your day you feel depleted and you're tired, you're dragging through your day. So at 4:00, you have to get coffee because you killed yourself in the morning with the workout. That's not good, right? Now, a workout feeling restorative, I also want to clarify what I would mean by that. So for example, I can go into a soul cycle workout and feel restored by it because I know how much output to put into it so that when I walk out, the rest of my day is going to be good. And I don't have the anxiety. I'm not scared of it because I do it at my pace and I know what's good for my body. Okay. That can feel restorative. Then there's a different layer of restorative, right? I can go to my restorative yoga class and then walk out of that ready to like have the best night's sleep of my life because that's a different kind of restorative. So I think that what's best is if you're finding here's the deal, restorative in the way that it gives you energy and or gives you peace, right? Like calm and peace, or a vibrant energy that's sustained, not the high afterwards that's going to drop. So that I love it. I love that. Yes, I wanted to kind of clarify that. And so 100% your workouts should give to you, not take from you. Now, I also want to, as I'm training in tennis right now, and I've joined a team and now I'm getting competitive, there's another part of workouts, right? That there is going to be that aspect of a little bit of like, we're going to stretch a little this week and you're going to be a little drained. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sore. Like that's part of being an athlete too. So that's okay. Yeah. But again, you got to create that balance. If you do too much of it, you'll have a problem.
Then, being hard on yourself, because I'm ready to start swimming again, and I haven't been satisfied with my weight training and cardio workouts for the last few weeks. Even though I'm doing work, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and I've been struggling to understand why am I not feeling the same satisfaction or that I'm working as hard. And I think I'm coming to the answer that it's between seasons, and I'm ready to incorporate the conditioning of the swimming laps again into my workout because I know what it does for my body. And so I'm kind of in this between stage right now, and I'm being harder on myself than I normally would.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's interesting that you mentioned that because there should be a joy, right, too, with that. Like a lot of people work out so that after they work out, they feel good. And I am a huge proponent of during it, you should be, I shouldn't say should, because there's obviously, as a dancer, right, you go into rehearsal every day, no matter how you feel. Period. There are going to be days where it's boring, you hate it, or it's like, it's just not the fun, right? Like that's part of the discipline and that's part of overall health, right? We have to do the things we don't love. However, if our only workouts, you are wanting, there's something else that is going to bring you joy and it's possible and it's coming into your life, then by all means, you're in that stage. I think it is about being patient with that transition And, and maybe also I would say like bringing newness to your workouts that, your current workouts. Like, I don't know if you're creating them or if you have a trainer. I know you do have a trainer, but I don't know, what you do for your workouts right now, but how can you bring some newness to it, right? So there's a little joy, a little more interest, and change it up. So I love that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's important for people to do that. So we got to wrap up because we've hit the 30-minute mark. And I really appreciate you. You are very passionate about what you do. And I am going to come see you. I'm going to give this Pilates thing a try. I think I need to do that. I owe it to myself to do that.
Yes, I love that.
Yes, because I want to take very good care of my heart always. So thank you. Do you have any parting words before we say farewell, everybody?
No, I think that I've loved this opportunity. You as well are so passionate, Patty, and it's so easy to talk with you. And I love where we've gone with this conversation. And just to kind of bring it back to heart health, I 100% that balance of calm and excitement, right? That we've got both of those things. So it's the in and the out, and that beautiful balance is what we're looking for. So I love that.
Okay,
thank you
great.
So much.
Okay, thank you. So everybody, thanks for tuning in, and get out there and do something to take care of yourself. And if you haven't done Pilates, give it a whirl. So thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.